If you're a Claude user, you may want to think twice before using Opus 4.7 instead of Opus 4.6. I'm sure you've been seeing a bunch of complaints about Opus 4.7. I want to show you some data that shows you why it might not be a better model. This Reddit user shared his results of using Opus 4.6 versus Opus 4.7. And there's three things in this data that I want to flag for you, but then there's one core point that I think is important that you understand. The first one I want to call out is this small little number here, which is the one-shot rate. This is the percent of the time where the user typed in what they wanted and the LLM was able to produce what they wanted in one try. They didn't have to reprompt to get to the outcome that they were looking for. This happened 83.8% of the time for Opus 4.6, which is great. For Opus 4.7, it was down to 74.5. This means that the user here had to do a lot more retries to get what they were looking for. The next thing I want to show you is actually in this little section right here. Opus 4.6 only used 372 output tokens per call versus 800 output tokens per call for 4.7. All right, so the last one I want to mention here is in this section right here. This is the number of tools that the model is using. So Opus 4.6 is using 2.77 tools per turn, which is kind of an interaction back and forth. And then Opus 4.7 is using 1.83, so a lot less tools per turn than Opus 4.6. Generally, the more tool use, the better the outputs are. Here's what all of this may mean, and there's a lot of talk about this online in the AI forums. What many people speculate is that Anthropic has figured out a way to distill down the Opus 4.6 model. Basically what that means is be able to give similar quality in output with a lot less compute power. If that's the case, what Anthropic could be doing here is using a model that requires less compute, has to generate more output tokens to make up for the less compute and the less quality of that model, which would overall mean that by using 4.7, they can achieve a similar real-world experience without costing them nearly as much money as Opus 4.6 does. So if you're a Claude user, you may want to be thoughtful about which model that you choose. And if you're having an experience with 4.7 that's not great, well, you may know the reason why now, and you might want to choose Opus 4.6 instead. All that being said, these things get updated all the time, so I'll keep you in the loop. If you follow here for AI news, I'll let you know when things have changed with Opus 4.7, and maybe they're just a couple updates away from outperforming 4.6 in real-world use cases.